Together with the iPad 10, Apple has also launched a new edition of the iPad Pro series. The most important new feature is the Apple M2 chipset, which is supposed to be a bit more powerful than the M1 of the predecessors. There are a few other new features, but not many. Is the new iPad Pro really as boring as it's made out to be? Not boring at all are the prices. The cheapest 11-inch iPad Pro starts at $799 or at a hefty €1,049. You must pay at least $1,099 or €1,449 for the 12.9-inch model. In Europe, the predecessors were at least €200 cheaper, but US prices stayed the same. Instead of the M1 chipset, the new iPad Pro models now feature Apple's M2 processor. This is the same chipset that is also found in some MacBooks. In addition, we get 8GB of RAM and 128GB up to 2TB of internal storage. The 1TB and 2TB models even have 16GB of RAM. You can also get all versions with 5G. The M2 is not only more powerful than the M1 in Apple's promotional videos, but also in benchmarks. Both in Geekbench 5 and in the 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme test, the new editions score better. So it's still the case that the iPad Pro is stronger than every Android tablet and also stronger than the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. However, I did not notice any difference in real-life use. I used the predecessors very intensively and edited hundreds of photos with them in Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop. With the new version too, but I didn't notice any difference at all. I also didn't notice any improved performance in my Adobe Premiere Rush render test. The same goes for my gaming test. No matter if it's PUBG Mobile, Asphalt 9 or Apex Legends, you can play all games smoothly on the new ones with the highest graphics settings. Even intensive multitasking with the Stage Manager is possible without any jerks, just like on the last year's model. Why is the M2 iPad Pro not faster than the M1 iPad Pro in real life? Well, the answer is easy. The M1 iPad Pro was so powerful already that almost no app and almost no game really uses the performance fully. When you're editing videos, you can start to reach the limits, especially when rendering. But I think until DaVinci Resolve is released for the iPad, you won't be able to tell the difference between the M1 and M2 outside of benchmarks. The displays are exactly the same as on the predecessors. The 11-inch model has a normal LCD with a resolution of 2388 by 1668 pixels. It's a really good one that's fully laminated, supports True Tone, and at 600 nits is brighter than any LCD on an Android tablet. It's the best LCD I've seen so far. On the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, we get a Liquid Retina XDR display, which is Apple's brand name for mini LED. Here the resolution is 2732 x 2048 pixels, and at 264 ppi, both are equally sharp. The Retina XDR display has stronger contrast than a traditional LCD, and black in particular looks like a true deep black. We also have a peak brightness of 1600 nits here for HDR content. The Liquid Retina XDR display is a fantastic screen, especially when you're editing photos or watching movies. HDR movies in particular look great. Just like on the predecessor, there is a blooming effect visible, sadly. If you watch a movie in the dark, especially with high brightness, you can see a kind of glow in content with high contrast. For example, when you see credits where there is a white text on a black background, or when writing with the Apple Pencil in dark mode. Is that a big problem? No, but within the last year I've noticed this glow more often when watching a movie in the evening. So it's not just a theoretical problem, but also occurs in real life. Both models still support 120Hz, which Apple calls ProMotion. Because the display looks so good and the 4 speakers are great, I enjoyed watching movies and YouTube often with both the predecessor and the 12.9-inch M2 iPad Pro, and I continue to do so. Another new feature is the Apple Pencil 2. It's the exact same pencil that continues to charge via induction on the tablets. I think it's clearly one of the best pens for a tablet, really excellent for drawing, but also if you do a lot of handwriting. The new feature is a hover feature that so far only works with the new iPad Pro tablets. If the tip of the Apple Pencil 2 hovers over the display at a maximum distance of 12mm, This is detected and an effect is displayed depending on the feature and app. If you hover over an icon, for example, it will be highlighted. And in drawing apps, you can see a preview of where you will land with the pencil or how mixed colors look. Apart from that, everything remains the same. On the software side, the stylus is still very well supported. You can quickly start a new note at any time, the Scribble feature still works great, and Apple Notes is also a fantastic app even though it looks so simple. Nothing has changed in terms of design. The iPad Pro M2 looks just like its predecessors. Its premium feeling is made entirely of aluminum and is compatible with exactly the same accessories. The 11-inch version is 5.9mm thin and the larger one is 6.4mm. They weigh 466 and 682 grams respectively. On each side there's a power button, volume controls and a USB-C 4 port with support for Thunderbolt. At the front sits the 12-megapixel webcam with the Face ID sensor. The tablets are unlocked using facial recognition and this works well even in the dark. On the back sits another 12-megapixel camera, and in addition we get a 10-megapixel ultra wide-angle camera and the LiDAR sensor. Nothing has changed here. What is new is that you can now also record 4K ProRes video. Apparently, however, this is only supported by third-party apps which do not exist yet. It's just marketing from Apple anyways. I don't think anyone will seriously shoot such professional video with the iPad Pro that he or she needs ProRes. Since nothing has changed in the design, the new M2 iPad Pro tablets are compatible with exactly the same keyboards of the predecessors. There are no new ones. You can choose between a keyboard case and the Apple Magic Keyboard, which is more of a keyboard dock. The keyboard case is good for occasional work. With the Magic Keyboard on the other hand, we get a really good keyboard with backlight, built-in touchpad and additional USB-C port. As on all iPad Pros, the new edition also runs iPadOS 16. I always think it's great with iPads that there are many more apps optimized especially for tablets than for Android or Windows. And for a while now, even really professional ones that work really well. For instance, I think the iPad Pro is much better for photographers than any Android or Windows tablet, because Adobe Lightroom works so well. Really fast. And if you don't like Adobe, you will find plenty of alternatives. The main new feature with iPadOS 16 is Stage Manager. This is improved multitasking for iPads with the M1 or M2 chipset. Here you can open up to 4 windows at the same time, and the windows can be placed on top of each other and saved that way. I think this works pretty well, but makes the most sense with the 12.9-inch iPad Pro or when you connect it to a monitor. Since iPadOS 16.2, external monitors are supported much better than before. The screen is no longer just mirrored, but can be expanded and other aspect ratios are supported. Previously, you saw black bars when you connected a 16:9 monitor to the iPad. In my battery test, both versions got a runtime of just about 6 hours. I always run an HD YouTube video at maximum brightness in an endless loop for this test. Considering how bright the displays are, this is a good result. So, are the two Apple iPad Pro tablets with the M2 chipset something for you? If you already have the predecessors, then no. Sure, the performance is a good bit better in benchmarks, but in real life the new features are so unimportant that an upgrade is not worth it, and you can't talk yourself into it. But if you haven't bought an iPad Pro in the last 2 or 3 years, it's obviously a good choice. I consider the new generation to be the best tablets currently available. They are significantly more powerful than any of the competitors, the build quality, displays and software are top notch, and the accessories are also well implemented. They are just really expensive. If you're looking for a tablet to work with, the Microsoft Surface Pro 9 is an exciting alternative. I have already started my test of it. It's even a good bit cheaper than the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Here we get a 13-inch 120Hz display with Slim Pen 2 support, latest Intel processors, high quality build and an excellent keyboard cover. However, the operating system is Windows 11.